The inspirational leader thanks people. And thanking, I have found to be hugely neglected. Sometimes when I'm running a training course, I ask everybody, when were you last thanked? And we go around the room. And quite often people say, I can't remember, or never, which is tragic. Now, if I had to come out with a rule for how often you should thank people, you could say, well, whenever they do something good. But if I had to have a rule, I would say weekly. I think once a week, you should thank everyone who works for you. And not just say, by the way, I think you're great, or, pass the sugar, oh thanks. But I think it should be for something significant, something good that they've done, something real. You should say, by the way, I noticed you stayed on late and sorted that problem out, and thanks for doing that. Or I noticed you tidied that area up and improved the system, and it's really brilliant. Thanks for doing that. So every week, for every person, you've got to find something real they've actually done and thank them. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that means I've got to know what they're doing. Well, yes, you do have to know what they're doing, but that's really important to do. Now, it's not an absolutely rigid rule. I'm not saying you should go, oh, sorry, I thanked you on Monday, so you'll have to wait till next week. Or, oh my God, it's Tuesday, I've got to thank Louise, or something like that. It should be whenever it comes up. But if you've got somebody who you haven't thanked for 2 or 3 weeks, that's too long. It's like watering a plant and you haven't watered it for 2 or 3 weeks and they're drooped right over. They're almost dead. You've got to find something good and you've got to thank them. Even if you have to actively look for something they've done and then thank them. So that's really, really important to do. Some managers think that thanking people is weak in some way, but I actually think it's strong. You can get macho managers who think that telling people off and criticizing them shows that I'm stronger than you, and they worry that the reverse of thanking might be to somehow be weak. But I don't think so. I think it's easy to find something to criticize. I think it takes real strength to say, I really appreciate what you did. I think it's brilliant. Thanks for doing it. That takes a bit of strength. That's a skill. One way you can thank people, or you can show that you're grateful to them, is just to spend time with them. And that makes them feel more important. So time is a resource that is scarce and that you can give out to people. So if you spend half an hour just chatting with somebody about how they're getting on with their job, what their plans are, you're actually saying to them, I value you, you're an important part of the team. And when you do thank people, it's worth thinking about your body language. Because if you just go, yeah, I think you've done very well there, that doesn't really have as much meaning as if you say, thank you for doing that, it was really good. You could even say, what you did was great and it made me feel really proud, or I was really impressed by that, or it's really nice to see that happen. So if you could put a bit of emotion in there, it's really good. I remember years ago I used to work with a guy called Wilf. And everybody loved Wilf, and we were really loyal to Wilf. We would have done anything he wanted. And I was thinking about what it was about him. And he was a master of body language. And when he thanked you, you felt that he really meant it. And the way he did it was he would just nudge your elbow. You've got to be pretty careful about putting your arm around somebody or something like that. But elbow to elbow, I think that's absolutely fine. There's no risk with that. So he would just say, yeah, well done, Chris, good job there. And he would just go like that. And just the fact that he touched you made you feel that he really meant it. And of course, shaking hands is another form of touching people. So if someone's done something really good, I think you absolutely should say, well done for doing that. That was fantastic, and shake their hand. It gives much more impact to the thanking if you do that. Another way of thanking people is to make sure that if somebody else sends in a thank you letter about one of your staff, stick it on the wall so that then Fred can see his name up on the wall. I just want to say that Fred did a really good job. Fred can have a nice glowing feeling of, yeah, that's me on the wall there. It raises the whole team, but it's particularly good for the person who's named on the letter. Another way you can thank people is to give them recognition for something like long service. So if somebody's worked for the company for 5 or 10 or 15 years, why not have their photographs up in reception, the 5, the 10, the 15-year row? And that's great for them because they get to have their picture in reception and they can feel proud of that. But it's also great for customers because when customers come, they can see that you look after your staff, you've got loyal staff, and that people like your company and they stay there for a long time. So it's a good signal for everybody. And some people may go, oh, I don't really want my picture up, I'm a bit embarrassed, but I bet secretly they love it. So photographs in reception for long service, or at least just names up in reception for long service. Why would you not do that? And it doesn't have to be only long service. You could have names up for people who are experts in certain areas. So you could say, our expert in this bit of software is this, or the person who knows all about a particular subject is this, and you can have their names on the wall. Because it's great to have your name up there for something good. And then the final way that I think you can give people recognition and thanks is ceremonies. So perhaps at the end of the year, maybe before the Christmas party or something like that, why not have some announcements of this is the person who's done best in this area, this is the person who's improved most, this is the best new starter. You can have lots of categories, so lots of people get to win a prize, and they can all come across the stage and be given a bottle of wine or something like that. I don't think everyone should win a prize, but if you can do it so that within, say, a 3-year period, everybody wins something, even if it's just the biggest improvement or whatever, then they can all feel involved. And going across to the stage and being given a prize really, really works. And I used to be quite cynical about this and think, oh yeah, award ceremonies. But I won an award recently, and I must admit, I was really, really chuffed. I couldn't believe how great it made me feel. So absolutely consider having a little ceremony at the end of every year where you give out some prizes to people. So there are some thoughts about how you can thank people, give them some recognition. And again, just to have a look at my list, think about, are there any methods there that you could use? But also think about the people who you've got working for you and think, are they all being thanked? Do they all know that you appreciate them?